So with an open mind, let us see what is that we can take back home on the whole theme of engineering excellence, mainly from a personal side. Now, I have been given this brief. As a speaker, what is that I can do? I know my own ability to communicate is limited. Just like my own computer has got a limited amount of data, a limited amount of information. But if my computer can be interneted, it can be through a modem connected to the internet, my ability to communicate, to download, to becomes unlimited. So too, my body-mind complex has a certain amount of limitation. Now, if I am able to connect to all the sources of information that I have got, basically my teachers might be my books, my whatever sources. If I am able to connect to those sources, it is amazing that you just have to have the intention. I have been given this privilege to bring about this concept about how we can engineer excellence. Now that's my brief. I can just be a conduit. If I can be a means between whatever we understand as excellence and the objective to whom it has to go. I work as a healer. As a healer, I know as a doctor, and I was having a discussion with Satya Prakash on health, as a doctor, how much do you really know about health and disease? Honestly, very little. We play like we are great healers. When many times when a person comes and I sit with him, I really do not know what his problem is, even after going through all his scans and all his MRIs. And then when I prescribe something, I'm only hoping that some miracle will bring about a healing. When I take a person for an operating room, I know I have motivated the family to allow their child or a husband to undergo a brain surgery. But more than anybody else, I know the personal risk that I am taking with this person. Although on one hand I will motivate them, I take a lot of personal risks. Now when you are in this dilemma, what you do is, honestly, you become like a conduit. You only appeal to higher forces to say, can I just be a medium for higher forces? And it is amazing. Sometimes when people get well, you are shocked. You don't show your smile, but you are really surprised, how healing happens. And we take a credit. For a lot of time, it is not our credit at all. So too, if you have to engineer excellence, we have to be available, we have to be receptive to higher forces. My body-mind complex is limited, but there was a beautiful quote that he said from Patanjali. When you are inspired, I will talk about it a little later, how you can download strengths from so many sources. And then what you express is not your body-mind complex, it is the infinite that you express. So if you have to take back anything from here, remember, the human mind has a tendency to forget. Within 1 week, you will forget most of what you have listened here. If you have to be a good listener, they say there's something called 3-person listening. 2-person listening is I'm speaking, you're listening. But 3-person listening is I'm speaking and you're listening with the intention of making a difference to somebody else. You're not sitting here as a student, you're sitting here as a potential teacher. And when you are sitting as a teacher, you know that the best way to learn is to teach. And in the process, if not very directly, maybe indirectly, you communicate some of these ideas, you will have profited much more from this session. And the whole effect of excellence trickles down to each one of us here. Second and very important is, if one idea, if one thought, so many wonderful thoughts have come through videos, through audios. Now, if one of them strikes me and say in some way, if it can affect me, the next big question is, what is it that I have to do to be excellent? Is there something that I have to do? Remember, this is one of the most beautiful quotes I have ever heard. It is said, you are already that which you can possibly be. If you are already that which you can possibly be, then what is that I have to do? I don't have to do anything. But then if I don't have to do anything, why do I come to seminars like this? Is there any scope for improvement? Yes. There are many things which are unnecessary inside me, which I need to take out. I know that within me, there is so much of negativeness. Now, somebody has spoken about this sort of an introspection that when you do on yourself, nobody knows more than me about what keeps me down. If you have seen a picture of Nataraja, Nataraja is dancing on top of something. What is he dancing on? He's dancing on a demon. See that picture, it's a demon. And you know where that demon has come from? It has come from within. He's been able to extract the demon from himself and he's able to crush it. When I am able to extract my own negativeness and I'm able to crush, and that is what is ecstasy. You see the Prabhava Leela, you see that aura around the dancing figure of Nataraja. It means I have victory over that which keeps me low. In fact, that is the definition of the word Hindu. The Hindu comes from the beautiful word, from the meaning of the word Hindu means Hinam Nashayate iti Hindu. I know my mistakes more than anybody else, or my own repetitive program. You know, we don't do many mistakes. We do few mistakes again and again. And each time, if you can see what is that I have learned, if I can limit that, then that is where it is true engineering. That's where I need to work on those blocks in my software that have come. And somewhere in my programming, I tend to do them again and again. And when I do it third time, can I learn from it? There was a guy who attempted suicide for the third attempt. And third attempt also, he didn't die. And the judge, he was arrested, and they were, for the third time they put a case on him because it was too much. And then they asked him, you know, what happened? How did you, at least tell us the secret of how you're jumping from the 10th floor? And he says, the first time, it was a miracle, I do not know what happened. Second time, another miracle came and I had a soft landing. And he said, by the third time, I became an expert how to jump, he said. When you do mistakes again and again, they have said, when you win, you win. When you lose, you learn, and therefore you win. If you can learn from your own mistakes, that is how we can profit. I've said there is a beautiful quote, excellence is not something that we have to attribute. It is not something outside of us, it is there within us. The purpose of life is to be able to reveal that excellence within us. I will tell you too in the form of a story. This is not a story, it's something that really happened. Somewhere near Bangkok, there was this temple where there was a huge clay statue of Buddha. And because the temple was being renovated, the statue was being moved from one place to another. Something goes wrong, the statue falls down and breaks. And when it breaks, they discover that it is not an ordinary clay statue of Buddha, but a golden statue of Buddha. The story goes that many centuries ago, when the Buddhist monks made this statue, their concern was how to protect so much gold. And because they did not have the means to protect it, somebody gives them a brilliant idea. Why not cover it with clay? So to the world, it is an ordinary statue and we don't have to spend so much on its protection. It was such a closely guarded secret. When they died and their followers died, they had forgotten that in this temple they had a golden statue of Buddha. Now, does it ring some bells? You know, I know my limitations. My body-mind complex has got a limitation. But I am not just this body-mind. Within or around this body-mind complex, there is something of the embodied. And it is said if one or two or few people have been able to give expression to that something extraordinary within them, it is just about everybody's potential to do so.